Transportation is the number one cause of carbon emissions in the United States, but is one issue we have a lot of trouble working to fix. Looking into solutions, we have options such as public transportation, such as buses and trains, and carpooling, but the most effective way to travel while having zero impact on carbon emissions is biking. I wanted to look into how biking can be a solution to climate change and how in the community of Newton, Massachusetts, we can improve and get more people to bike and help the environment. To find out more about biking in Newton, I sat down with two specialists on biking in the city.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me, Luke. My name is Mr. Gluck, and I am a teacher's assistant at the Underwood Elementary School here in Newton Corner. One of my passions is the environment and living a green lifestyle, and I look forward to answering your questions. I get teased a lot, Luke. I pretty much live on my bike. On every single street or corner in the city of Newton. I do all my errands by bike. I get to work by bike. I visit friends by bike. So I've covered the whole territory.
I'm Lisa Bowman, and I'm the president of Bike Newton. And I've been the president for 3 years. And the organization I represent works to that end. We have 1,800 members who are committed to helping make Newton a more bike-friendly, safe city.
Okay.
I was asked to organize a bike event called Tour de Newton, which is coming up on its 7th year. And at that time, I guess I recognized that biking was something that I did just sort of casually, that was really something that I could do every day. I could go to the grocery store and really run most of my errands in Newton are by bike. And I'm very excited about biking.
Supporting ourselves as humans is something that we really like to do. So getting places by bike is a safe, efficient, healthy way of moving us around this earth. When you're on your bike, you are affecting the environment in one really important way, and that is transportation is by far in the United States of America the biggest contributor to fossil fuels being burned and adding carbon to our atmosphere, which of course leads to global warming and climate change. So when you're on your bike, you are not burning any fossil fuel, you are not producing any carbon, and of course, which we'll talk about in a minute, there are a lot of other side benefits. I think the biggest obstacle to people biking Newton is comfort around safety. Most of the people I speak to that are bikers and they enjoy biking, they get scared when they're on the same road with an automobile. So the way to get more people to do it is to encourage them that if they are acting safely and following the rules of the biking road, which are pretty much the same as the automobile road, they will become more comfortable with biking in Newton. But
go in more depth of how can we make biking more accessible in Newton?
So when you say accessible, are you talking about working for people with different abilities, or just the ability to, or just the idea of making biking easier to do?
Making biking more easier to do.
Okay, so what we need to do in order to get biking, making it easier for people to bike, is to make more dedicated space. And the fact I forgot to mention was that in a community like Newton, easily half of our trips are under 3 miles. We have, probably 11 to 12,000 kids being driven to school every day, back and forth, trips back and forth. We have trips to the grocery store, to see friends, and otherwise. Trips under 3 miles, that's a 15 to 17 minute bike ride for just the average person. So this is, very doable. Most of our city is relatively flat. So it could be very easy, but it doesn't feel comfortable if you have to bike along busy roads, cross in difficult spaces. So I think it's much more important that we think about how we create dedicated paths that allow people to be completely separated from vehicles and enable them to be just, feel safe and make it easy.
For me, it's having your own bike is going to make it the most accessible. So I think it's really important for people that maybe like myself that have 2 or 3 bikes, when you're done with an old bike, think about donating it. Talk to some of the bike shops in town, Hair Cyclery, Farina's, my favorite here in Newton Corner, and let them know that you have an extra bike for people to use and or buy.
Should have completely separated lanes for bikes to be in. So not just paint on the road, we should have some physical separation. Like a sidewalk, it separates pedestrians from the cars, we should have a space for bikes as well. But when we could also look at what we'll call neighbor ways. So this is the idea of taking quieter streets and saying that these are places where we'd like people to bike more, and we should then work to make sure that vehicles that are on that street are going super slow, and would maybe try to avoid driving on those streets because they know more people are going to be biking on them, and make spaces like that. So I think it's a combination, and maybe it's making these paths connect through. We have a lot of open space and parks and schools and quiet streets, and so just connecting through those, and when you come up with and making it a network, right? So you can, regardless of where you are and where you want to go, there's a relatively straightforward way for you to get there.